Ladies and gentlemen, another season of the Sim Racing Collective PC GT3 Series is unfortunately coming to a close. Season 7 sees its finale take to a legendary circuit of the series, one that joined the calendar all the way back in Season 1. It is, of course, the Nürburgring Grand Prix Loop, and with four championship up for grabs, the Pro, the Silver, the Am, and the Overall all being contested here tonight. It should be an absolute belter. 15 minutes of qualifying followed by a 40-minute race, the usual format here to round off yet another fantastic season of racing. My name is Zach Sweeney. Alongside me in the commentary booth is Kelsey Gill. As always, Kieran Sharp pushing the buttons behind the scenes, making sure we follow each and every single bit of action that comes our way. And Kelsey, of course, what a season it's been, and what a finale we're in for tonight.
Yeah, it's been fantastic season. Good evening, Zach, and good evening, everybody else. And good evening, Kieran, as well, behind those cameras. Yeah, it's been great, hasn't it? We started off, of course, in France, where, you know, we were thinking Dominic Aligna, he might have a chance at winning this and maybe storming away with it. But we were pleasantly surprised with the introduction of Damien Konchik there, which has given Dominic quite a bit to fight for, really, something to chase after, and that's been the whole season. They've been chopping and changing the lead between the two of them, and, well, where things may be a bit more difficult in the individual championships, the overall standings look very, very interesting. There's lots of maths that Zach has worked out, not my foray, but we've got a fantastic track this evening as well. The Nürburgring is technical, it's a challenging circuit. It really requires a lot of precision from the drivers. You've really got to be careful on how you approach it, going into turn 1, then through the Mercedes arena, then through 5 and 6 and 7, then up for the Schumacher S's, then through the Warsteiner curve and up to the Advan Bogen and the NTK chicane through there, and that last corner too. There's lots of awesome corners, lots of chances for side-by-side action as well, but who is going to be brave to go side-by-side in some of these more technical parts here in the Nürburgring?
Yeah, of course, it's a circuit that very much is a driver's circuit. Plenty of overtaken opportunities and no shortage of opportunities for mistakes to happen. So you've always got to be on your A game. Talking of those championships that we were touching on, of course, the pros unfortunately have had a bit of a shorter lineup when it comes to their individual grid as such. So the championship, we're not going to focus too much on that as such, but it is Damien Konchik that leads Aligna by 7 points. Hislop and Chumley, who hasn't actually taken to the season at all, is behind. So there's only 3 contenders, and only 2 of them are in with a shout of winning. James Wright leads Jemmy Urison in the Silver Championship by 11 points. So a bit far-fetched for the Belgian to get after James Wright, but still not impossible necessarily. Sasha Pal in 3rd place on 90 points ahead of Glanovsky and Luca Rai that round off the top 5. And then we get to the AMs, and this is where things are really interesting. Of course, Nord-Est Racing Teams, the Italian Mafia as they've been dubbed over the course of the last few seasons, sees Giuseppe Zampieri and Petruccio Gameo at 1 and 2 in the championship on both 110 points apiece ahead of Paolo Sisco, who himself is only on 59, having missed the first 2 rounds of the championship. So the AMs definitely up and open, and when it gets to the overall, a bit more interesting. Essentially is the same as the pro fight as such, because it's Konchik and Aligna separated by just 7 points on 237 to 230. But it kind of means a little bit more, Kelsey, because there are a lot more positions at play, different point variants and things like that. So look out for the overall championship, because that is effectively the pro as such, but then also the silver and the AM, something that we can't necessarily ignore, and there is a lot on the line here at the Nürburgring.
Yeah, I think the main story will come down to if the leaders bottle it at any occasion this evening, then that could be a championship slipping out of their hands when they may feel they've already got one hand on that trophy so far. So they're going to have to be careful. And like I alluded to early on, you know, the Nürburgring, it's a circuit that requires a lot of precision. If you make a mistake here, then it's likely to snowball. So you've really got to be on the A game, really got to be sort of treating this track with the respect it deserves as well, because it can and will catch you out if you're not careful.
Yeah, complacency is an easy thing to fall into here at the Nürburgring. It's just, you know, you get into a rhythm, you settle in, you have a small glimpse of concentration, and suddenly your whole world turns itself upside down. But when it comes to overtaking opportunities, we sort of have touched on the fact that there are a couple, turn one, kind of into the final chicane as such. How important then is qualifying going to be? Of course, there's a 40-minute race and a pit stop along the way. So does track position matter all that much, or is the race really going to be decided in the course of the next 9 minutes?
I think if you look at a track like last week, we were at Bathurst last week, where qualifying, as you could see throughout the whole race, was incredibly important. Now we go here to the Nürburgring. There's a bit more space to go racing. There's a lot more runoff. There's not walls that are ready to come and collect you if you go that little bit too far over those white lines there. So I mean, qualifying is always somewhat important, especially when it sort of sets the stage of your race. If you're fast, but you end up starting at the back because you mess up your lap, then you're going to be doing a lot more work to sort of fight your way through, and you're going to really sort of hamper yourself. But you know, if you put yourself right where you should be, then you'll be sort of racing as according to plan as such. So with a circuit like the Nürburgring, though, qualifying, it's not as important as a circuit like Bathurst, perhaps, where there's a lot less room for racing. But again, it's certainly it depends how you view it. I think if you're fast enough to go and make it through the races, and you're not, or make it past other cars, you're not too focused on where you qualify. But you still want to be trying to put in the best times and the best laps as you can. And as you can see here, Dominic and Ligner currently no time on the board, or about 7 minutes and 52 seconds through. I did see him take some liberties going through that final chicane there. He took a lot of cut the corner essentially, so he's going around again to have another go. Here he comes. What's he going to do on this occasion? That's a bit better from the German. Round one more corner he goes, very reminiscent of the final corner at the Hungaroring, this one, and gets onto the power as you go down toward the line, whereas Dominic and Ligner going to place himself in his Audi. It's P2, 3/10 of a second behind Damien Konchik.
Yeah, a decent lap, of course, straight out the gates for Ligner. Not the best one, though, as we see Konchik, a 52.8, a remarkably quick time at this stage in the session. But with more cars going around, more rubber to be laid down, there is still an opportunity for those times to come down and Ligner to improve. Of course, on home soil, he's kind of, you know, he wants to as such. The fight for the silver pole as well between Sasha Paul and Mikhail Glanovsky, 4th and 5th. They're not separated by too much either. Nieto as well, just in behind. Championship leader James Wright, 2nd place driver Jeremy Urison, only separated by, what was that, 85 thousandths of a second, which isn't a lot, which is less than a 10th of a second between the pair of them. So of course they're looking very well poised as well. But because it's such a long lap here at the Nürburgring, Kelsey, you lose 6 minutes, which is effectively half of the session, doing an in-lap, an out-lap, a fast lap, and an in-lap. So you really do have to be careful and clever with the timings of the session.
Yeah, you really got to time those runs right. What you don't want to do is be caught, you know, unable to make that second or perhaps third run if you're able to do so. So you've really got to time those sessions, really think about when you're coming out on the track as well, and most importantly as well, you've got to think about where you're coming out on the track too. What you don't want to do is to waste a lap out there. So you don't want to be coming out where there's other cars ahead of you or behind you perhaps that are, you know, distracting you, because it is a distraction. What the ideal condition is that you run into nobody on a qualifying lap, because you don't want anything to put you off from setting that near perfect lap that you've got to try and do. I mean, every driver is chasing that perfect lap, which it doesn't really exist. It's only really a concept. It's a goal to strive for, but I don't think there is a perfect lap. I don't think that's possible, in all honesty. And also, you don't want to make any mistakes on your hot lap either. So you've really got to, you've got to be on it. You've got to use your out lap to get a feel of the track, get the car ready as well, and then just go for it. Just drive, no thinking. Just put the pedal to the floor and brake in the right places. Get the car turned in. Touch those apexes where you can, and just put in the laps.
Exactly. Just drive. And get good, essentially. That's the best advice that we can give you. Just drive fast and you should be all right. Marcel Hess out there at the moment, second last, well, last of those in the silvers that have been able to put in a lap time, and now Mav Gardner set one. He is also behind a few of the AM drivers as well. So the Porsche would like to find his way up further forwards in the grid lineup as things stand. Of course, everyone out on track at the moment, so everyone out there willing to set a quicker benchmark time for them. Marcel Hess up into 11th, ahead of Mav Gardner. And look how close that silver field is, in fairness. I mean, the gaps between each of the drivers individually, not that much at all.
No, and here's the man we're keeping an eye on, James Wright, leader of the silvers so far. He's going to be wanting to have this evening go absolutely perfect. The next 40 minutes are going to be very important for him, but he's got to get through this qualifying session first. I think he's just started a lap, so we'll keep an eye on the McLaren driver as we go through here. But there's a lot of pressure on this man's shoulder. He's got to perform, and I think he's about 8/10 off of pole for the silvers at the moment there, from what I can somewhat calculate. I mean, I'm not the best with numbers, but I think that's what I can glean from simple division in the moment.
Division.
Subtraction. I said the wrong thing.
And you said it'd take me 10 minutes to embarrass myself. According to YouTube, we're 17 minutes into this broadcast, but we only went live about 10 minutes ago. So, you're right on cue, for yourself. I'm yet to embarrass myself, touch wood. Of course, this is Jeremy Urison, the driver not from Senegal, instead from Belgium. I'm just colourblind, so I'll reminisce on the embarrassment of last week, just to make you feel a little bit better, Kelsey. As well cued, actually, that flag does come up, and yeah, it's a bit embarrassing, I can't lie. Andrea Almonte there in 7th place overall, 4th place in the AMS, across the line. Mav Gardner actually tips the Italian to 7th and takes that second row in the AMS away from Almonte. 2.5 minutes left to go in qualifying, which means we are towards the final stages. But the good thing is, Kelsey, is that if you cross the line before the checker flag is waved, you are allowed to finish your lap. So there's a little bit of leeway when it comes to the final stage of qualifying.
Yeah, get out quick, I suppose, and get that lap ready to go, and just don't mess it up. That is all you can really do at this point. James Wright through the final chicane now. One more corner to navigate for car number 11. He is currently the bottom of that silver grid there, which is nicely slotted in between the pros and the AMs. Where is he going to place that McLaren? Is it going to be good enough? No, he's only gone up a couple of places. That's going to place him 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th in that AM field there. He'll want to try and improve that if he can, but there's very little time left.
Yeah, only a minute 38, so basically those that are currently on a lap will get a chance to finish them at least. Maybe one more if you're towards the tail end of it. Here's Josh Hislop, about 8/10 of a second off the time set by Damien Konchik, half a second off the time set by Dominic Aligna. Of course, the home hero is Aligna, and he would want to improve on his time, get that pole position, impress the home crowd, and of course win his second championship, become the second only driver ever to score a double, so Smokey being the other one. Of course, 2 Germans would then be the only double champions of this series. The rest of them only able to do it on one occasion thus far. Antonio Brasici at the moment 2nd place in the AMS, only need a slight improvement to top Giuseppe Zampieri. He does that, takes 13th overall, takes pole for the AMS with the dying stages in qualifying here upon us. There's Damien Konchik looking to solidify his time on pole position. However, he doesn't, so it's all down to Aligna.
Yeah, he's not going to do that with a parked car there, so it's gauntlet thrown down for Aligna. Then can he find that 3/10 of a second he needs to improve his lap time around the track? Improve his position, in fact, and improve that lap time too. But it's going to be an ask for Aligna. He looks like he's got a car ahead of him. It might help him in those straighter lines, but perhaps through the corners. He might pick a little bit of disturbed air up there, which may cost him some time on the lap. Where is he coming through now? Car number 716. He's coming up to turn 8. He's got a fair bit of the lap left to go, and it's looking fairly put together. It's fairly smooth. I don't know how quick this is going to be as he goes round. The checkered flag is being waved though, so if you're on a lap now, that's it. This is the one, and up through the Schumacher S as he goes, and I'm sure we'll see some battles through there. We have done in the past, and through that last chicane, from that left right of 14 and 15 there as well, which slowly approaching is Dominic Aligna. It's all on him. What is he going to do?
We'll find out in due course. Of course, got a little bit of slipstream from the McLaren. Let's hope that's more of a help than a hindrance as he approaches the final chicane. Very fast flowing. You're braking really around about the 75-meter mark, carrying so much speed in. It's all about balance through the final corner, then maybe getting caught up a little bit behind the McLaren. But let's see, foot to the floor across the line. It's a first row at the very least from, and it's not enough. An improvement to a 53.172, but not enough to get Damon Konchik to pole position. Jeremy Urison out there looking to improve from last place in the silvers, with the final lap times now coming in, just waiting for Josh Hislop, who I believe is out there on a lap as well. Urison, of course, the 69 machine, looking very fearsome, of course, with a good old Velociraptor on the side of his car. Across the line, it's enough to top the old Bandera to 11th place overall. There's Marcel Hess. Is he able to get further up? No. Qualifying then has drawn itself to a close, and it's the two championship protagonists of Konchik and Aligna on the front row, but sheer domination really from the Ferrari, with 3 purple sectors and a lap time 3/10 quicker than the rest of the pack. Hislop and Sasha Pole on row 2 ahead of Glonovsky and Nieto, row 3. Then comes Mav Gardner and Almonte, who will share row 4. Marcel Hess, James Wright, completing the top 10. Of course, James Wright only needs to beat Jeremy Urison tonight, and he is right behind him in that BMW M4 in 11th. Job Bandera completes row 6 ahead of Brasici and Zampieri. Of course, the AM championship leader looking to beat his Nordes Racing teammate, Patricio Gomeo, there in 15th. Paulo Cisco, and then, of course, Miller Kuzumkanov, there we go, in 18th. And finally, on the grid as well. 5 seconds covering the entirety of the field. 40 minutes then on the clock. And Kelsey, I think we're in for a belter of a season finale, or, well, at least we hope so.
Yeah, we hope so. I think Aligna seems to be struggling a little bit out there. I don't think this Nürburgring is quite to his taste at the moment. I could be wrong. He could have just had a bit of a shaky qualifying, but from his early laps, he didn't look too dialed in. And I think on that last lap attempt there, he just had a little bit of a slide on the exit of that final corner, which is pretty easy to do, actually. If I'm right in saying it's very similar to the last corner in Hungary, it's very easy to sort of put the power down a little bit too early and sort of slide out of the exit of that corner, or just have that bit of oversteer that may send you toward the barriers on the inside there. So it's a tricky corner, and if you're not quite clued in, it's a tough one. And I think Urison did that as well, who was one of the last cars to come across the grid. But look how close that grid is in the silvers there, though. Only a few thousandths of a second really between some of the drivers. You look between Almonte, Hess, Wright, Urison, Bandera, all 1.9 away from the lead of the race, but they're all about under a tenth of one another. So there could have been, you know, just that tiny little bit to sway it either way. It's going to be interesting throughout the whole grid, I think. Maybe though, I'm suspecting Konchik, he might just run away with this if Aligna is struggling, as I think I saw.
Yeah, I mean, Konchik isn't, you know, a bad driver. I mean, he's had, you know, a poor round. I think it was when we took to Silverstone. It was, of course, getting that drive-through penalty, I believe, for speeding in the pit lane, or is it stop go 30? Either way, suboptimal for him. Of course, you get a drop week, so that's his anomalous score gone. It's been a first, a second, a first, and a first. So 3 race wins for the pole, who is leading the way in the championship. Of course, Aligna has got 2 wins and 2 second places, so his aim, of course, is going to be to win today. If that is the case, and Konchik is lower than third or lower, it will be Aligna that takes the crown in both the Pro and the overall championship. So there is a lot to be decided, but a lot of ifs, buts, maybes for Aligna. The bottom line is Konchik has got it all to lose, and he's got the best seat in the house for the race today.
yeah, he just cannot make any mistakes here. He's got to continue that. He's got to continue that form he had throughout those early parts of the season. It wasn't until the middle where he got that stop-go 30, which saw Ligner really sort of come back into it. In all honesty, they went into Bathurst tied on points, and it was a very, very interesting race between the two of them, where Konchik he pitted early and he got that undercut on a Ligner, and then trying to chase down his Polish rival, where Ligner made those mistakes, and that was it. He didn't get a chance to put the pressure on Konchik like Konchik had done that whole race long there, and he just choked. And it happens, you know. It's easy to forget that there's a human inside the cockpits of those cars and behind those crash helmets, keeping them nice and safe. Although I suppose in this case it's on the other side of the screen in the virtual world, but it's the same sort of principle. We make mistakes, it happens. Even the best racing drivers in the world make mistakes, and the best sim drivers in the world make mistakes. But you know, it's all part of the sport. It's all comes with the territory, and it's going to be interesting to see what Konchik and Ligner can produce. They've done an exceptional job so far, and we're going to close curtains very, very soon as they make their way around for this formation lap.
Yeah, the final race of the season already, and you know, season in, season out, it's a case of, are we done already? It's just they fly by. The weeks go, and then another season's done. Then we've got to wait sort of a month before we get going again. But the waits are worth it. These short, snappy championships are so interesting because, you know, while some people might say they're easier because there are less rounds to lead for, I say, well, maybe. But then also, it's its own sort of style of difficulty in the sense that you've got actually less time to make up for any mistakes. You've got to be on it for such a small, cramped amount of time. It's so densely packed together, and it's its own sort of discipline as such. These sort of compact championships that are just, you know, 6 weeks consecutively and they're done, compared to some that are stretched out over the course of a few months or even the duration of sort of a year as such. So there are pros and cons, of course, to both styles of championship, but I definitely don't dislike the format that we've got for the TSRC. Enough rounds to keep it interesting, but not too many as to sort of elongate the process too much. And we've always had a championship fight. But before we get going, Kelsey, who's coming out on top today?
I just think, just from what I've seen from qualifying, I think Konchik might just have it a little bit more in it. He was faster in sectors 1 and 3, so I think I can't rule out Konchik for this win this evening.
Well, I don't think so either. I would not be surprised if he goes and dominates this race with a decent gap at that. But happy to be surprised. We've got 3 championships to settle. Of course, the Pro/Overall, the Silvers and the AMs. 40 minutes on the clock here at the Nürburgring. Season 7 has been a battle of the titans between Damian Konchik, the newcomer, and Dominic Ligner, the seasoned champion. They go toe-to-toe once more. 40 minutes on the clock, and the green flag is waved, and a perfect launch from second place from Dominic Ligner. You can see already getting the leg ahead, going into turn of 1, side by side as well. In the background, you can see Hislop versus Sasha Pal. Konchik having to go to the outside this time. He's going to give it a good fight, but Ligner holds firm on that inside line that he was able to take thanks to such a punchy start, and the German takes the lead of the race going into turn 2.
Making full effect of that Audi's perfect acceleration, that superior acceleration over the Ferrari. Got the jump of him into turn 1, into the inside line to defend it, into that sharp hairpin, and then just saw off Konchik onto that outside line. And there's James Wright round and down the back there. That's the silver championship leader, and he has got some work to do. And perhaps there was an incident involving car number 11, but either way, he's now at the back and he's got to start chasing.
He does, and that is good news for Jeremy Urison, who, of course, will be looking to gain as many points as he possibly can. Of course, between the two, there's only 11 in that championship hunt for the Silvers, so Wright has got a fairly decent edge ahead of him. However, he stopped in the middle of the track. Let's have a look as to what's happened. You can see the Lamborghini ahead of him, and the Aston Martin just decided to do that, which is not great. And huge drama, of course. I believe it might have been Paulo Cisco. You can see that 97 machine. So that effectively well, could well put James Wright out of contention. I think it has. He has DNF, which means he effectively finishes 11th for this race in the Silvers, which means that Jeremy Urison, with 2 wins to his name, will win if there is a tie. So 11th place gets you 10. He needs to finish second in the Silver Championship if he wants to win the, of course, the overall. And there we can see Matt Gardner, Marcel, or Almonte, I think, actually having a bit of contact around off lap number 1. Not great at all. The bottom line is, if Urison wants to win the championship, he needs to finish second in this race.
Seems like caution's been thrown to the wind this evening for a couple of drivers. There's a definite unsafe rejoin from Paolo Cisco there, and then just Marcel Hess. Marcel Hess just no, it was Matt Gardner, sorry, just deciding that I'm coming through no matter what, or perhaps just missing his braking point from his point of view. But still, that was very clumsy, and not the standards of racing we're used to here.
No, definitely not. A little bit of a scrappy start. However, the fight at the front has been nothing short of fantastic. We're only 3 minutes into this race, still plenty more to come. Ligner doing a brilliant job of leading ahead of Konchik. And now, obviously, what's going through Konchik's mind at this stage? I mean, he dominated qualifying 0.3 of a second, lost the lead at the start, and is now on the back foot to start this race. What's going through his head knowing that the championship's at stake?
I think one thing you've got to do as a racing driver is sort of, there's a lot of adrenaline that comes when you're in a race. Your heart's beating, your sort of senses are elevated in a way, and you're sort of tuned in, and you're just, there's an element of tension there. And I think he's got the lead. He's done that part. That's the hard part over going down into turn 1, but now he's got to keep it. That in a sense is even harder. And he's got to keep his head. He's got to keep it nice and cool. He's got 36 minutes remaining to just see off Konchik here as well, and he's just got to keep his head, keep his cool, defend, but don't make any silly mistakes at the front. Don't overdo it in the fighting as well. Know when he's beat and know when he's got to try and get through, and just, he's got to race smart, but he's got to not think about it too much, because then that's going to creep in perhaps with some errors. You've just got to drive and find that flow state while you're out there on the track.
I mean, to be fair, as things stand, he is winning the championship, so he's happy just to sit there as such. You don't necessarily to win the race, to win the championship. In the position of Konchik, second place will do. Of course, can't go any further back than that as to lose the championship to Dominic Aligna, but if he just sits there for the whole race, Aligna's doing everything he can, but he's capped by by first place as such. He can't then go on and score any more points. Whereas Konchik can just sit behind him, take second place, win the championship. Jobs are good, and of course that's a bit boring, but at the end of the day, this race in isolation doesn't matter. The greater good for Konchik is to win the championship, and if he has to play second fiddle for the whole race to do that, I'm sure he won't mind.
I mean, these are racing drivers at the end of the day. I mean, yeah, he could just sit there and take it. Max Verstappen at some point last season in Formula 1 could have easily said, right, I'm mathematically safe now, I'm not turning up, see you next year, boys. But they're racing drivers. They do this for a reason. They love it. And so Konchik, he'll want to get this on track just as much as he wants to get it on paper as well. So it's we say it all the time here at the TSRC. Try telling a racing driver to back off. I dare you. It doesn't happen.
It does not, which is a fair point to make. But the risk that Konchik is carrying, knowing that third place is enough for him to lose this championship, might be enough caution just to say, you know what, yeah, it's all right, I'll stay in second. Anyway, we've got a fight here for second place in the Silvers. This is because, between Mikhail Glanovsky for Minas Racing, and then also Alex Nieto just ahead of him for 5th overall, as I say, second in the silver class. Sasha Pole leading, of course, from that silver pole position, and only 1.5 seconds clear. Now, if you're Glanovsky, do you overtake the Porsche, or do you get after that race win?
I mean, if the opportunity presents itself, yes. But I mean, if that Porsche's going to be putting on a staunch defence, he's going to be making that car as wide as possible, then it may not be worth trying to fight it all too much. And then there's all that risk to be sort of calculated as well, I suppose. But right now, Glanovsky, it looks fairly tuned in. It's taken a lot tighter lines there through the Porsche. We know how nimble that Porsche is, and it's quite well suited to a track like the Nürburgring, but going wide is the Italian, and inviting down the outside for Glanowski there, tries to find a way through, unable to. But I think he's making the right approach right now. However, I think after a while, yeah, look, you can see he might be getting a bit frustrated. He's flashing the lights there. He's saying, get out of the way, you're slow.
Just psychological games, really. You know, there are small things like that that can make a difference, to the point where some championships outlaw it and say you can't do it any more than 3 flashes, and it could be a penalty for such a trivial thing. It does make a difference because it's a changing thing in your peripheral vision that makes you pay attention to it, right? It's a flash, and you look up in your mirror and you know he's there, and it constantly is reminding you that there is a McLaren putting some pressure in your rearview mirror. Whereas if he was to not do that, it would just be a continuous state in the rearview mirror, and yeah, he might occasionally look up and notice he's there, but it wouldn't constantly draw his attention over to that fact. Whereas, of course, when things aren't, he's just able to focus forward and you know, just concentrate on what he's doing. Giuseppe Zampieri, I think, there we go, running in second in the AMS, just ahead of Andrea Almonte in 13th. Of course, it is going the way, as things stand, of Giuseppe Zampieri. He's fighting with his teammate Patricio Gomeo. They're tied on points, so this race is a winner-takes-all scenario. And so far, Patricio Gomeo is about 13 seconds off the back of Zampieri, so he's pretty cushy in this fight for the championship.
Yeah, he certainly is. This is an ideal situation for him as well. I just keep thinking, I keep seeing Almonte's Mercedes there, the back of it specifically, and I keep thinking that it looks a lot like Michelangelo of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fame, and I can't unsee it now. Like it's just ingrained in my head. I mean, you probably don't see it, Zach, since you're clearly color challenged or something.
Color challenged. That is the nicest way. It's like calling a short person vertically challenged. Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Yeah, no, really appreciate it. Yeah, no, cheers. Yeah, awesome. To be fair, I didn't embarrass myself. You embarrassed me with that one. No, that was fair. Just wait till next season, Kelsey. Wait till next season when you're not on the commentary.
Oh dear, I don't think that's going to happen. It shan't be like that one. Oh dear, it's funny. Oh, brilliant. Oh,
it's just not it. It's just not fair. It just anyway, Dominic Ligner leads Damien Konchik. Of course, Konchik now taking the fastest lap of the race. 30 minutes left to go, and 3/4 of this race still at large. Still the pit window to come, and a mistake from Ligner could well spark a change for the lead. He's off the road. He manages to hang on to it. Damien Konchik finds his way through, capitalising immediately, no hesitation, as Ligner is sliding all over the place, his heart in his mouth, and his championship hopes nearly slipping away from his grasp. He's still in the mix, but now once again on the back foot.
And that's it. That's the Nürburgring biting back there. It's the exact same mistake he made in qualifying in those early laps. Just took a bit too much curb on the entry. Then that's completely scuffed the balance of the car. Sent him over the next curb on the next part of the chicane. And then it just threw him out wide, spat him onto the grass. And lucky to not be in the gravel, and really lucky to hold on to that car. Really showing some rally skills there with Dominic Ligner. And then he had that massive bit of oversteer on the exit of the corner as well, just lighting up those rear tyres that little bit too much, which almost saw him go spinning. I don't know how he managed to hold on to that. That is some skill and precision behind the car, at least in the sense of trying to catch a mistake. But the pit window's now open, Zach. It's time for drivers to think about coming into the pits. Are they going to go early? They're going to go late? They're going to overcut, undercut? What are they going to do? They've got 19 minutes, 20 seconds to decide.
It's true, and it all comes down really to circumstance. You don't want to come out in traffic, so the likes of Konchik and Ligner aren't going to be coming in anytime soon, because if they do, they're going to get a bucket load of traffic and they're going to be losing a ton of time. But for those further down, they're going to come out in some nice clear air, so maybe it is worth them coming in a little bit earlier compared to those around them. But because there's no mandatory tyre change, it's only 35 seconds worth of fuel, you are able to basically just split it half and half. No real strategical advantage for, you know, the pit stop itself. It's the in lap, the pit lane itself, and the outlap that makes the difference. And of course, the biggest variations, or variables, I should say, for the in-lap and the outlap is where you come out in traffic, where you are positionally in the race, which is why circumstance is the big driver of strategy in such a sprint-focused championship.
Yeah, it is, and you know we sort of touched on the length of the race, and it's 40 minutes, which is probably about half the length of an actual Grand Prix, I suppose. I mean, I know that isn't about Formula One. I know half of a Formula One race runs you around 45 to 40 minutes. I'm not well versed in real world GT
We're
racing.
gatekeeping him. No, we're going to gatekeep him. He's only an F1 fan. He's not a motorsport fan. We're going to go with that. You're not allowed into the one. No, you're one of those
knowledgeable about.
You're one of those toasters that just, you know, yeah, there's no motorsport until F1 comes back. Like those people that were like, still 30 days until motorsport comes back. And it's like, no, because the Daytona 24's on, mate. What's going on? But no, I know you're not one of those people, Kelsey. You're learning, but we're still going to call you an F1 bigot, just for fun.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, just as much as I'm going to call you colourblind from now on, I suppose.
No, not colourblind. That's not politically correct in this championship
Colour
anymore.
challenge.
Thank you. Now you won't get cancelled. 27 minutes left to go. Over half the race left to go. Goodness me, why are we not into the second half of this race already? Get me out of this commentary booth. Honestly, this is like a push to trial. Every time I get into a commentary booth with Kelsey, I just need to scream. I don't know. I'm not a celebrity. Not quite there yet. I bottled the simmies, so I don't know. I haven't really got much going for me. But Damien Konchik, he's got a lot going for him out in front, leading the pack. And, well, of course, we said he wasn't necessarily going to be overly aggressive, but still not back down from a fight. Once he had an opportunity to find his way through, he's taken it with both hands, and he's looking to go for a pole, a fastest lap, a win, and a championship all in one race.
Yeah, I think what you guys can't see is our Discord channel right now, and Zach can't see green. Can't see black because you thought it was green. But Zach mutes himself every now and again, so he must be screaming into a pillow or something every time he's muting himself. As it's clearly so torturous to work with me in the comms box, which is a lie. He loves me really.
I mean, I suppose there is some truth to that. Otherwise, I wouldn't have got you involved and taken a pay cut for it. But that's not a topic for on broadcast, so it's fine. But yeah, no, you know what, it's fine, because I enjoyed commentating on you that much back in the good old F1 days when I was myself an F1 bigot and knew no tracks outside of the Formula 1 calendar, and I still get slated for it to this day. Myself and Lewis McGlade were playing F1 GeoGuessr, not F1 GeoGuessr, Motorsport GeoGuessr, where it took you to different tracks as such.
That's cool.
It was an eye-opener for how little I knew. But to be fair, I did all right. There was a couple of obscure ones where he took the mick out of me for it, but it's still a running theme that I know nothing when it comes to tracks. Ricci has just been giving himself a drive-through, I presume, for speeding in the pit lane there. Of course, already ticking off his mandatory stop, and well, unfortunately, we'll have to take the second mandatory stop in the form of running his way through the pit lane and taking the long, grueling, about 15-second time penalty for doing so.
It's almost like a very bad Joker lap, isn't it? Going through for a drive-through, if you want to try and compare it to something, but Basici not doing himself any favours in trying to gain as many points as he can in this fight. Is that somebody round at the final corner? It is. It looked like Josh Hislop's had a spin, or somebody of a similar card colour. No, that's Josh Hislop there. It's a different driver who's spun into the pit lane. Perhaps it is a BMW as well. Could it be Basici coming in for his... It is Basici. There he is, coming in for that drive-through, and maybe even retiring.
Potentially so. Of course, didn't look to be in the best condition with that BMW M4, but of course he can't stop while serving a drive-through penalty, so if he isn't retiring, he's going to have to then come back into the pit lane at some point in the near future. Yol Bandera fighting with Marcel Hess. The 46 Porsche just ahead in P8. Of course, that is 5th place in the AMS. 4.5 seconds behind that is Jeremy Urison, who with, of course, James is right, DNF, his championship hopes really skyrocketed. However, on the one day where you need to capitalise, a 2nd place is what he needs to win. Unfortunately, he's down in 7th place in the Silvers, which is the lowest score of his season, so he will effectively finish 5th. Even that is 3 places too low. So James Wright doesn't even need to be out on track as things stand to win the championship.
No, he doesn't, and he'll be fingers crossed that his rivals don't score the points that they need. But we've still got plenty of racing to go. 23 minutes and 26 seconds to go, and we've still got the pit window to open as well. So there could be some shuffling to be had. And speaking of high numbers, I'm seeing 6 people over on the JP broadcasting channel, and I'm seeing what was 8 people a second ago, and it's still 8 people on the TSRC channel. Come say hello in the live chat. We don't bite. 7 people now on the JP broadcasting channel. Hello to you all. I hope you're enjoying the race so far. It hasn't been too exciting since Eligna's mistake, but there's still plenty to keep your eyes on and talk about. And come talk to us. Give us, even if it's just telling us how your day's been, perhaps. I don't know. Say anything, please.
We're lonely. Oh, there we go. We've got Revolver Ashlot into the TSRC chat. So hello, welcome to you. Hope you are enjoying. Of course, don't hesitate. Give us your thoughts, feelings, queries, questions, whatever sort of tickles your fancy. And welcome in. First time we've ever seen you. So of course, welcome to those that are new to the channels. Make sure you like, subscribe, turn the bell on. All that cliche YouTuber stuff that we are very professional. And always shout out James for is to drive up the subscriber count. I don't know. Something along those lines, I think. Are we supposed to do that? I don't know. But anyway, yeah, stay up to date, because what a cracking race this is being. Dominic Eligna bites the bullet first of our top 2, so we'll make his way down pit lane around about the halfway point. Still 22 minutes left to go in this race. Alex Nieto versus Mav Gardner, the fight for the silver podium.
Yeah, it'll be time for Konchik to start really putting in those laps and getting himself out there. Where is Eligna going to come out? He's still in the pits for now, as I'm seeing him on the track map. Car number 716. There's Nieto as well in the Porsche. He's out just ahead of Nieto by the looks of things. Or no, 721. Nieto is going through, I think that's the second sector through there. So the Mercedes arena is where Dominic Eligna is right now. But he's out on track again. We'll see. The 913 car. We'll keep an eye on him. We'll see when he comes into the pits. But I don't know how effective it's going to go. But Konchik, we've seen him do it before, speeding in the pit lane. Will he do that again? Will he make a repeat mistake? Who knows?
Let's hope not, because if there is any day that you do not want to be bottling things, it's today. He's had a phenomenal season, nearly bulletproof for Damien Konchik.
It's in.
And yet he is in. So let's see. Of course, we don't want the red banner to come up next to his name. Of course, there is one man that will, and that's, of course, Dominic Eligna, who would love to see that come up next to his name. Josh Hislop as well coming in. It looks like Eligna's come out in some nice clear air, so he's been running quite nicely and should be able to run, of course, a nice undercut. Whether or not that's quicker than Damien Konchik will be a race against time. As there you can see, Eligna now running through the final sector. Damien Konchik still stopped in the pit lane, of course, 35-second mandatory stop time. So Eligna needs to smash this final sector, see what the gap really is after the pit stop phase.
Yeah, don't make the same mistake you have already, Dominic, in this last couple of corners here. Let's see. Does he take a nice fluid line through that chicane? Yes, he does. That's much better. Where is his rival? Konchik still in the pits. Where's he going to come out? Down the main straight comes Dominic Eligna now in the Audi. Can we see any movement from Konchik? He's back out on track, and, well, he's responded in absolute time to the stop from his rival there. Wow. And it's going to be a big gap. I think he's actually gained time in the pits.
Remarkable. It's a good couple of seconds as well. It's no small amount of time. There is Konchik, and you can't even see the Audi R8 in shot, which is sensational. Yes, still going down this run towards the left-hander here at Ford, or one of the two is Ford. Then you can't even see Dominic Eligna, which is a sensational gap for Konchik to have. And another step forward, another hand, well, one hand placed on the trophy. I'd say another hand, but that'd be two, and unless he's got tentacles, then you're probably not really going to work. So he's got one hand on the trophy. In 20 minutes time, he'll hopefully have the second one up there and become another champion of the of TSRC, not the TSRC, because that's the Sim Racing Collective, and that just doesn't work. It's something that we're corrected on a lot of times. However, have been told that Damien Konchik didn't take tyres, as opposed to Dominic Eligna doing so. which means that in the next 18 minutes, Aligna needs to see a return return on investment in those tyres to close that gap. But in fairness, he didn't have anything to lose. It was either finish second and not take tyres, or finish second, take tyres and maybe go for the win.
Yeah, I mean, he's got nothing but clear air between himself and Konchik there as well, so he's got the time to put it in, and I expect he cooked them quite a bit during that error that he made there as well. Aloha to you too, Becky. There was a little bit of carnage at the start of the race, but it's been all clear since then. James is a very busy man. I'm pretty certain there's about 3 different streams going on around the same time on a Thursday night, so I think he's probably in one of those or getting ready for them. But instead, you've got myself and Zach to talk you through the action. And I mean, these are the commentators. This is the stream we love, right? This is the one we want.
Who cares what James is doing? James is irrelevant. He's just... Who even is that James guy? It's what it is. We're where it's at because we believe in a round F. I mean, carrying on. This is the place to be, right?
Yeah. Yes. Had some stews here finally. He's missed about half of the event already. Have you missed anything? A little bit of carnage at the start. Zach and I, you know, giving each other a little bit of a hard time. That's about it. James White in the chat as well. Hi guys, sorry I didn't feel like carrying on with so much damage in the first lap. Love the commentary, by the way. I'm glad that you're loving it here as well, and I hope that. Well, we did point out that at the moment, it seems your lead is currently safe, but that may have changed in the last few laps as pit stops are continuing to be taken.
It hasn't. Of course, as I say, Eurison needs to finish second of those with the little grey banner. I can see grey, funnily enough. That's the silver class. He needs to finish second of those to win the championship, because he would win with any tie or countback or anything like that. And that would give him enough points, because you'll be finishing 11th effectively for James Wright. Yeah, to topple that 11-point gap, he'll need to finish second in the AMS. Silvers, I should say, and that doesn't seem to be happening as of yet. Still 16 minutes left to go, still time for things to change, but let's give it a few before we make any cutthroat decisions. In terms of the AMS as well, it's Giuseppe Zampieri that leads Petruccio Gimeo by 15 seconds. That's the AMS Championship effectively settled, as well as, of course, the Pro/Overall, which we're grouping into one championship, because it's effectively the same thing. At the moment, Konchik is winning both.
Yeah, it looks like Handsome Stu's cast the line out into the chat. Says, hey Fish, say nothing at all if you're the worst driver of all time. And we'll see if he takes the bait there or not. It's not looking likely so far, but we've still got plenty of time for Fish to get himself involved in the chat there, as he always does. TSRC chat popping off like it usually does. Let's see what's happening out on track right now. Gap between Konchik and Ligna, 6.1. We've got a battle going on here. This is between Eurison, Marcel Hess there, and then I think that's Joel Bandera just behind them as well. And Hess off the snow. That's not Hess. That was Mav Gardner getting out of the way. But we were following off Jeremy Hess. The timing tower has not updated itself. There we go.
Yeah, once again, hopefully for Assetto Corsa 2, I believe that's coming up this year, they overhaul the spectator system and give us a live delta like literally every other sim. Let's see what's happened though. And just a pinch at the apex, really. I don't really know what to make of that. Aggressive from the BMW leaving the pit lane, but also could have been could have also been easily avoided by I believe it was Joel Bandera going into turn of 1, because again, maybe he did have right of way, but at the end of the day, the graveyard is full of people who had right of way.
Yeah, it was an interesting one. I think it's very sort of on the nose there. I don't think Gardner forced him off completely in a malicious way. The way the corner's nature sort of allows the cars to sort of go out wide, doesn't it? And you've got to try and get back on the power as well. So I don't think either driver lost too much. I don't think Eurison lost too much time there anyway. But I think Mav Gardner's out of the race now anyway, so I don't think he's going to be too bothered.
No, probably not. Yeah, down to 16 runners. So we have only lost James Wright and Mav Gardner. Final 13 minutes and 45 seconds of this season before we, of course, pack our bags and move on to Season 8 in, well, a few weeks' time, hopefully, anyway, for the TSRC. Sorry, for TSRC or the SRC. It's fine. We'll get it right one day, because effectively I'm just saying the Sim Racing Collective, as I've already said, reminds me of a team name for a endurance championship that I did a couple of years ago, and it was Team FA Alonso Kart Australia, which effectively means Team Fernando Alonso Kart Australia. And again, it's sort of in that similar vein of extra words as such. Yeah, well, that's just me embarrassing myself. Didn't take me 10 minutes into the stream, but roughly about 10 minutes to go, and yeah, I've managed to put the nail in the coffin. Jeremy Urison versus Joel Bandera for last place in the series.
Yeah, there have been some strange team names out there, hasn't there? I mean, we could look at the Formula One grid and say some strange team names at the moment, just to be that, you know, Formula One exclusive again, or whatever it is.
Formula One bigger.
One team name I heard about earlier today was the name of some football team. It was down in the lower leagues or something. I can't remember the name, the team coming against them. No, not Norwich, but apparently this football team was called Munter Hunters FC, which is
nice. Absolutely love that.
Hilarious.
What a top tier name. Wow. Yeah, that sounds like a team you'd play football for, or you know, maybe it needs to be a sim racing team. What's the next special event? Is it Sebring, the next special event on iRacing? Maybe you need to get on it and whack yourself into good old the MH sim racing team and crack on. Damien Konchik versus Dominic Ligner. The gap is closed by about a second since the pit stop phase ended, but those fresh tyres not necessarily doing what Dominic Ligner would have potentially hoped for him to have done.
No, he's gained about a second, but not as much as it would be. I think it doesn't seem that the tyre wear's all that different. I mean, remember a few seasons ago, really, we had the whole physics engine overhaul, and maybe that's not done too much, but I'm not sure. I mean, we've still got 11 minutes and 23 seconds, so let's say in the next 2 minutes or over the next 2 laps, which is probably about 4 minutes or just under that, Konchik's tyres just plummet. They go down off the cliff, and they slide in, and they're just not fun to drive. Then perhaps the Ligner's got a chance to close it back in with just the sheer technical nature of this Nürburgring circuit, but he's just not really gaining that much, is he? It's not like the time's tumbling down at the moment out there, and I don't know, I mean, it's coming down incrementally. It's now 4.7. It's just difficult to tell with the timings on the board as they're moving along. But right now, 4.7 is the gap. And can a Ligner hold firm? And, well, everybody's pitted. Pit window's about to close. Nobody under threat of taking any penalties for not pitting. Somebody who is under threat, though, Jeremy Urison here. He's got Joel Bandera chasing him down. But what's P8 in the overall?
Yeah, and of course is 5th place in the silvers. So Jeremy Urison matching his lowest score of the season as things stand. 10 minutes left to go in this race. Pit window has closed. Everyone's signaled their mandatory stop. So straight sprint to the finish. The gap between Konchik and Ligner sub 5 seconds. Potentially going to close even more so. We'll see. There's going to be a mistake from either of them. But as things stand, all 3 championships are as good as sealed. And the only battle out on track at the moment is Jeremy Urison versus Joel Bandera. Brilliant battle between the pair of them. Brilliant battles that we've seen all season long. And we've had plenty of highs over the course of season 7.
Yeah, we certainly have. There's been some fantastic races going through. There's always fantastic racing here at the TSRC. There's been some great stuff. I'd love to see next season some more pros added to the mix. You know, Jack Southfield getting back out there. We need somebody else to bully.
You could have chosen anyone. Hang on, you could have chosen anyone, and you go, I want Jack Southfield back. Seriously?
It was the first name that came to mind. Like, you act like you hate him, Zach.
Well, no. Well, yeah. The McLaren's off. I don't entirely know as to who that is. It might be Kazim Khanov, who, of course, is a little ways down. No, I don't hate Jack Southfield.
Yeah, I don't know. But there's also Samuel Chumley. There's Oh god, so Smoggy, we haven't seen him this season.
Striker,
Uh,
Slav,
Staffordshire, yeah. Maurice Striker. There's
Nuttall.
Nuttall. Bailey Thompson. No Bailey Thompson this season.
Brignara, so Smogy. Actually, no, Brignara was before your time. He was season 1.
I'm trying to remember. There's a driver I've got. His name's on the tip of my tongue. I can't quite remember. He's right there.
Sklanowski. He's here this season.
Gosh. Oscar Soristo, that's the one.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, he made an appearance a couple of seasons ago, I think. That was the last time we saw him. Driving his Porsche.
In the Aston Martin he was in, wasn't he?
I don't know, I remember him in a Porsche one season. Maybe he was in an Aston Martin most recently. But, yeah, it'd be nice to have some old faces back and some new faces perhaps even. Just especially in that pro category because, you know, it's sort of 1, 2, 3. Like you can't finish any lower than that. Like Hislop's not really had any pressure. I mean, yeah, it's a fight for the podium. But, that's about it. There's nobody out there. Slav as well. We need to convince Slav to race. Says Sharky in the chat.
I want to see Luciano Vitvet take to this championship. Of course, he races in the TSRC iRacing F4. He raced in the TSRC 500 Road to the VCO SimGrid Grand Finals, which is even more of a mouthful than the PC GT3 Series on ACC. Here's Glanovsky fighting with Sasha Pol. This actually for the silver lead of this contact. And Glanovsky sent sideways. Sasha Pol sent round. Of course, rejoining the circuit here at Dunlop with 7 minutes to go. He is going to be absolutely livid as the German on home soil to lose not 1, but potentially actually 2 places. Alex Nieto finding his way past, I believe, in the Nordest Racing team. Talk us through this one.
Let's have a look. I think that gap is closing. You can see, I'm not sure he's got much right to be there at that point, but you could also argue that Glanovsky just didn't give him, well, he's half off the road, and Glanovsky sort of, I guess he wasn't expecting him to just sort of dive down the inside like that and put his nose in. I think that was inevitable. I think that's Pole getting a bit too eager to make a pass there. There is a case for perhaps Glanovsky not being given too much room. This is why I'm a commentator or a steward. I'm not a steward right now, but it's a tough one to call. But I think putting on my steward cap, I think I know which way it goes for that one.
Unlike Andrew Pike and Jon Bandera out there in P9, 6 minutes left to go on the clock. But yeah, I wouldn't want to be a steward in sim racing because you can't win. Everyone's going to be annoyed at you no matter what, and we need a SkyPad analysis post-race and put the penalty up to the chat. Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a brilliant idea. Democracy, of course, at the end of the day, is how things are supposed to go. We need our own Karun Chandok to go for it. Your Bandera looking to the outside of Eurison, with just a handful of laps left to go. No way through for the McLaren, as he is still behind the 69 machine as things stand. But a mighty battle between the pair of them. Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't want to be a steward, but that incident in itself seems fairly clear-cut.
Yeah, I think so. In all honesty, but Joel Bandera sublime on the brakes there. He was so close to the back of Eurison, didn't hit him, and then he had enough speed to try and give it a go around the outside. Didn't pull the move off, but it was certainly a good attempt in towards turn 1. It's hard to go around the outside of turn 1 if you're not already fully alongside. So hats off to Bandera, and he's got more pace in him there, but that's a little mistake, a little wide through turn number 8 as they go back up the hill now of this Nürburgring.
Yeah, fighting their way around, and once again Alex Nieto, Sasha Pole, of course Nieto ahead thanks to Sasha Pole's inaccuracy on the brakes going into Dunlop, and let's see if he's able to redeem himself and at the very least pick his way into second, maybe first with some post-race penalties to be decided, whatever is the outcome of this race. 4.5 minutes left to go, 18 laps in and just a handful left. The McLaren looking very well poised to snatch that second right off the back of the Italian, who is fighting tooth and nail, was given this opportunity to find his way past, and well now has to back up his claim and well to show why he deserves to be there. Yeah,
gap from the leaders as well. Conchik and Ligler 3.8. I don't think Ligler's going to do it, but what can this McLaren do? Tucks into the draft, in toward the braking zone we go now. No way through for Paul on this occasion, and he's looking to get on that second step of the silver podium here. Has that McLaren got, is it more nimble? Has it got more grip than this Porsche out there? We don't know. I feel like they're fairly equal in their nimbleness out there on the track. These two cars, but I don't know who takes it really. Which car's more suited to this Nürburgring?
Good question. It's been a while since I've driven ACC, purely because my wheel just doesn't work. Whenever I get into it, it's just 10 degrees of steering input, spins the wheel all the way around, and it's just undrivable. So I need to figure out a way to sort it out, or whatever, how to do it, because I do love driving on ACC. But in my own experience, I've always preferred driving the McLaren. It seems a little bit better, longer wheelbase, and more planted for me. But the Porsche front-mounted flat six, of course, very nippy, very good acceleration. Not the best top speed, which isn't necessarily a big thing here at the Nürburgring, but definitely a helping hand. In fairness, I mean, we've got 5 different manufacturers inside the top 5, so it doesn't really make that big of a difference what car you're in. Just depends on the driver that you are. But for me, I'd always have preferred to be in the McLaren. Seems a bit more comfortable at the moment. Of course, Sasha Paul was very comfortable at McLaren and wants to find his way past the Porsche.
It certainly looks like it. When you've been doing this for long enough, you can sort of analyze how the cars are being driven by each driver, and you can just tell how they're reacting. I can, yeah. I feel like I'm quite good at reading that body language. Like through that chicane, for example, the McLaren looked a little bit more stable than the Porsche there. I think the Porsche was a little bit more shaky behind in the hands of Nieto there. And here comes Paul again, looking to the inside. Is he going to go late on the brakes on this occasion? Nieto, sorry, gives him all the room possible, but pinches himself to the curb, does Paul, and doesn't make it any easier for himself, as Nieto, some smart defense as he carries that momentum to defend his position.
Yeah, using the entirety of the race line, effectively just trying to keep that minimum speed up. Sasha Paul tried, but all in vain for him. Penultimate lap of this race, by the way, as we tick into the final 2 minutes of the session. Konchik leads Aligna by 4.5 seconds, and, well, it seems unlikely that gap is going to close, so we'll announce all 3 champions effectively at the line, even if one of them isn't even going to cross it. Alex Nieto fighting for second place in the AM. Sasha Paul still piling that pressure on lap after lap. Your Bandera versus Almonte as well. A fight for 9th and 10th overall, and also for 6th and 7th in the silver class. But we've got this battle to focus on. This is definitely the priority because of how hard these two are going at it lap after lap.
Yeah, they are. The pressure is on, and that Porsche nearly losing it through the Schumacher S's there, climbing up that hill. And I think Paul senses that. I think he senses the pressure being felt by Nieto in his Porsche there. And again, that McLaren just, I think it looks a little bit more planted, a little bit more sharp around these corners. And here he goes. He is going to go side by side now with his rival in this particular battle, all the way down towards this chicane. Are they going to go side by side through here? No, Paul just pulls ahead with that speed in the McLaren, that top speed of the Porsche, holding it back perhaps as they head through these final few corners. And it is Paul back into P2 after that incident with Glanowski there. Meanwhile, Damian Konchik on his final tour of this track.
Yep, one more lap, not even, until he crossed the line to join a roster of champions. It's been a magnificent season for him, of course, coming into this season as a bit of an unknown. Of course, everyone knows him now, and he is up there fighting with the best. He's taken to a titan of Dominic Linger, been here since season 2 as the German. He's fought valiantly, won a championship himself. And Konchik has, well, not been fazed by that at all and has been consistent and in good stead to win this championship.
Yeah, it's great seeing somebody new come in and just saying, I don't care what drivers you have in this league, I'm coming in, I'm the fastest guy out there, I'm going to beat everybody. And he's been great all season long. He's belonged on that podium, even though it's always a podium for the pros in this particular season. But he certainly hasn't looked as if he has been misplaced.
Absolutely not. Well, season 7. Damian Konchik, this is going to be his 4th victory of the season. He joins a roster of the elites, crosses the line here at the Nürburgring, victorious, with pole, the fastest lap, and most importantly, the Season 7 championship. Dominic Aligna crosses the line in 2nd, and a runner-up for him in his pursuit for a 2nd Drivers' Championship for TSRC PC GT3 Series here on Assetto Corsa Competizione. Damian Konchik, though, joining the roster alongside Brignara, Sir Smogy, Jamie Nuttall, Bailey Thompson, and of course Dominic Aligna, becoming yet another champion here today. Mikhail Glanovsky as well across the line in the silvers. He's victorious in this race today. However, the championship can only be won by one, and it's a man that didn't even need to take to the track. It's James Wright, the silver champion, as things stand, as we predict. Of course, we'll await Giuseppe Zampieri across the line as well. Marcel Hess rounding off in P4 in the silvers in this race. There is Giuseppe. What a season it's been for him as well in what has been a very, very close championship. Winner takes all today, and he's risen up to the occasion.
Yeah, he's turned up, he's done the job, and that's the best you can do. And it has been a close fight in amongst the AMs. It always is, really. All of these drivers very well placed with each other, all matching that skill level, all out there racing and racing hard. And Giuseppe Zampieri, he'll cross the line in just a few more meters time, gets it on the power for one last tour of this circuit, and it crosses the line, the champion of the AMs.
Yeah, what a season for him. Patricio Gameo, his teammate, leads home a 1-2 for Nordest Racing Team, both in the race and in the championship. Close, but no cigar for the Italian. But what a race it's been, what a season it's been. Another one that's disappointing to see draw to a close, but one that we were so excited to see the conclusion of. Marcus Miller, the 44, becomes one of the final drivers to cross the line and will, of course, take the final podium place in the AM champion. For the AM classification of this race. Maurice Kuzumkanov in the McLaren Racing McLaren 720S will cross the line 2 laps down, but with a strong heart of determination. We'll walk you through the final finishing order of this race. Damien Konchik, as we say, victorious with pole, with the fastest lap, and with the championship joining the Hall of Fame for TSRC. Dominic Aligna, Josh Hislop round off the podium, and then Mikhail Glanovsky and Sasha Powell, the top 5. Alex Nieto, P3 in the silvers, rounding off that podium. Marcel Hef, Jeremy Urison needed second place today to win the championship, and unfortunately, due to only a 5th, will only end up second in that championship. Yor Bandera and Andrea Almonte, the top 10, ahead of newly crowned AM champion of Giuseppe Zampieri in P11. Patricio Gamay just in behind, Miller, Paolo Cisco, and Kuzumkanov, the top 15. Then comes Mav Garner, Presici, James Wright, the silver champion, 18th place here today. Kelsey, wow, your thoughts for this season? It's been a mighty one.
Yeah, it's been great, honestly. Again, you know, I said at the beginning of the stream, Dominic Aligna he might have come in thinking, yeah, I've got another championship in the bag, and was sorely mistaken, perhaps, as Konchik came in and gave him a run for his money. And it was a fantastic watching the two of them fight each other. Yes, they weren't side by side all the time. It wasn't, all guns blazing, exciting fighting, but they were always close together on track, always fighting, always trying to push each other to the limits as well. And I think the both of them, hopefully they can, virtually shake hands perhaps and say, well done, mate. It's been a great one. I'll hopefully see you next time. But it's been fantastic. And I called it at the start that Konchik would have the upper hand on Aligna at this Nürburgring. And I think I was proven right there with that mistake that Aligna had made and his failings to catch back up after taking new tyres. But it was a hard ask, so I can't give him too much grief for that one as well. And just one more thing, James Wright, championship winner, didn't complete a single lap.
He did not, and yet was able to win the championship. Ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, this is going to draw a close to this season's proceedings. Of course, we battled our way around the globe all the way back on the 25th of January when we took to Paul Ricard. We battled our way through South Africa to Belgium, then to Britain. We went to Australia last time out, and we rounded off the season back in Europe today at the Nürburgring. It's been a battle all the way through, a championship fight to the death across all 4 categories that we had here today. A newly crowned champion for Damien Konchik. Of course, we had James Wright and, of course, Giuseppe Zampieri, the 2 other ones. Of course, it was in the end Damien Konchik that took the overall championship. I don't necessarily think that classes him for 2 championships. He's not quite on the same level of Sir Smogy just yet. Maybe he needs to come back up his claim, and go toe-to-toe with Dominic Aligna once more. But, ladies and gentlemen, the Sim Racing Collective PC GT3 Series Season number 7 has drawn to a close. Watch this space, because Season 8 will be coming in the near future. My name has been Zach Sweeney. I've had Kelsey Gill alongside me for the duration of the season. We've had Kieran Sharp behind the scenes, pushing all the buttons, following each and every single bit of action. You've been watching live on the Sim Racing Collective YouTube channel and or the JP Broadcasting one. Make sure to like, subscribe, turn the bell on for notifications to not miss a single thing that comes your way in terms of sim racing. Until next time, it's goodbye for now.